Good morning. I am the Reverend Denise Gouch. My pronouns are she, her, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to worship with the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. Our projectionist this morning is Debrina Dills. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I'd like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us this morning. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. If you have questions about our congregation, please reach out to me. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on our website, and I would love to hear from you. If you are with us for the live broadcast of this service on Zoom, you may wish to experiment with the view settings at the upper right corner of your screen. And won't you please say hello in the chat? We love knowing you're here. No matter what platform you're using to join us for worship, you can find helpful information like ways to give, faith development resources for all ages, and more in the worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org. We are so glad you've joined us for worship.
Good morning. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm delighted to serve as your director of music ministries. Our opening song is actually an Israeli pop tune that charted in the early 1970s, sung by the duo Ilan and Ilanit. It is one of my favorite songs from our Unitarian Universalist hymnal, celebrating the new year and the hope of things to come. Here at First UU, we've begun singing the chorus in Hebrew, so let's review the pronunciation quickly. You'll stay muted, but go ahead and repeat after me. It goes like this. Od tir'eh, Kama tov, Yehiyeh, Bashana, Bashana Haba'ah. The lyrics will appear on your screen, and I hope that you will join me and Holling in the singing.
Children will smile without wondering whether Hi, I'm Chelsea Henry. I'm the worship associate today. I'm also a board member and I facilitate Chalice Fire, our pagan ministry. Our call to worship was written by Amy Bowden Friedman. Once more, the earth has turned toward the light of the sun. As we are bathed in the light new day, so may we greet the dawning of fresh possibility. Once more, we awaken from our slumber. As our bodies rise to meet the challenges and pleasures of living, so may our hearts and minds open with promise. Once more, we gather for worship. As we join our voices in word and song, so may this assembly bring forth wholeness. Come, let us worship.
Good morning, my name is Alex Brooks. My pronouns are he, him, and the words for the chalice lighting were written by Leslie Takahashi. All that we ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create: a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life we share.
Hello, my name is Magda. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a friend of the church. And I want to tell you a story today. There once was a girl named Sasha, and she had an abuela who loved her very much and loved to make her things all the time. She made her, so her abuela made Sasha a dress, and she loved this dress more than anything. It fell right below her knee. It had all the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and she tried to wear it every single day. And then something terrible happened. She was drinking a glass of grape juice, and she drank it, and she must have had a hole in her lip, because, oh no, the grape juice just fell all down her shirt, the top of her dress, and oh, it stained everything. She went to her abuela, so sad. And her abuela said, oh no, we'll change it. We'll transform it. And so her abuela, she got out her scissors, she got out her thread, and she snip, so, and suddenly Sasha's dress was now a skirt. And it was her favorite skirt. It had all the colors in the rainbow. It had red, it had orange, it had yellow, it had green, it had blue, it had indigo, it had violet. And she wanted to wear it every single day. And she did for years, until someone else I know, her legs got very long and her skirt started inching up as she grew, and it went past her knees, up her legs, and she went to her abuela and she said, I want to change my skirt. So her abuela got out her scissors and she got out her thread, and snip, so Sasha's favorite skirt became her favorite shirt. And it was wonderful. It had all the colors in the rainbow. It had red and orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo and violet, and she wanted to wear her shirt every single day. And then she noticed one day, oh no, had a very big tear in her shirt. But that was okay, because she took out her abuela's scissors and her abuela's thread, and snip, so, her shirt became her favorite vest. And it was wonderful. It had all the colors in the rainbow. It had red and orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo and violet. And she tried to wear it almost every single day. And as Sasha grew, she gathered up more stories and more memories until she got her vest out of her closet, and she gathered up all sorts of different kinds of materials and shirts and pants and skirts and all these things that held these stories for her. And she took out her umbrella's scissors, and she took out the thread, and snip, snip, sew, sew. She combined all of these different things. She took her favorite vest, which was also her favorite shirt, which was also her favorite skirt, which was also her favorite dress. And she combined it with all of these wonderful memories and stories into a quilt that, when she wrapped around her shoulders, felt like a big hug for her umbrella.
Good morning. I'm Richard Bird, and I'm the chair of the Stewardship Committee this year. And we knew going into this year's campaign that it would be a challenge for us. We didn't know what to expect, and we weren't sure how to connect with everyone in this oddly disconnected world that we've been living in. I've been extremely fortunate to have a great team working with me this year on the campaign. Bob Day, our treasurer, Candy Toller, Ibba Surface, Pat Lynch, Daryl Meyer, Charlie Almquist, June Dye, Liz Schneider, and of course Trig, who along with Jeff Stein put together our first ever online stewardship kickoff event. And this morning, we've received, as of about this morning, we've received about 995 pledges. We did ask for an increase this year, and 100 of you have stepped up with an average increase of 10%, and for that, I am so grateful. The average annual pledge so far has been an increase to almost $3,000. And we've welcomed 3 new pledges during this pandemic year. We've also heard from a few people that making a financial commitment just wasn't possible at this time, and we greatly appreciate your letting us know. I know that some of you have gone through a change recently that has made it challenging to decide on your ability to make a financial commitment of any size this year. For others, the feeling of disconnectedness has just made it difficult to consider even offering a gift to the church. Yet we would like to hear from you, because there are still about 50 people that we've not heard from yet, and we are still short of our fundraising goal by about $95,000. I know that staying engaged has been difficult for everyone. Watching a worship service online hasn't been the same as sitting in the pews next to you friends. We all long to hold a hymnal in our hands and sing together. Even the more introverted of us miss the hum of activity between services. Children eyeing the goodies on the food table, the warm cup of coffee or tea, and catching up with others. Reverend Gail and now Reverend Diane, the rest of the staff and the worship committee have done a remarkable job of creating worship services online every Sunday for over a year now. They've worked harder than many of us realize and deserve a great deal of gratitude and praise. We will worship together again soon. There will be church picnics. We will walk among the many herbs and vegetable plants together at the Urban Craft Fair. We will have Wednesday night dinners, an in-person auction, and children attending classes together. We will even actually get to meet Reverend Diane in person. I have faith that our community is strong and will continue to grow and make a positive difference in many lives, including yours and mine, as it has for the last 6 decades. This is why I make a pledge and increase it as often as I can. Thank you so much for participating in this year's stewardship campaign. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. You know, the stewardship campaign is lots and lots of work for lots of people every year. The stewardship drive is not our only springtime ritual. Next Sunday, we will celebrate the bonds of community with our annual flower communion. While we're still meeting virtually, our love and appreciation of each other is real. Join us in this ritual of sharing flowers. During next week's service, you'll be invited to turn your cameras on, bring a flower or two, and be part of the bouquet of faces that make our congregation what it is. Faces many of us haven't seen now for over a year. Those of you watching today's service on Facebook or YouTube are warmly invited to join us on Zoom at 9 a.m. next week, but you'll also be able to view the service later, as usual. Families at the Zoom service may decide whether or not to include children in our bouquet. We look forward to seeing everyone. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of April is the Safe Haven Family Shelter, about whose work you can learn more in the worship portal on our website, firstuunash.org. You will also find the link to our online donation form there. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, are received with gratitude. Oh, that's so beautiful, Holling. Thank you. So now let us remind ourselves that we are here together across space and across time, and holding the joy of gathering, the beauty of the music we've shared, the knowledge that out of our generosity, this community is gathered and equipped to do its work. Let us lift our hearts together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of light, Spirit of love, the love and light that flow through the turning of the seasons, the turning of our earth every day and its path around the sun, so that winter turns into spring and spring moves on towards summer. Let us for a moment pause and remember the pleasures in our lives. There are challenges, certainly. They are always with us, but so too are the pleasures. So too is the sun rising every morning and spring coming every year. Summer bringing its warmth and its growing things that will feed us come fall and winter. Pleasure and gratitude, as well as challenge and pain, are our ocean, the ocean we swim in as human beings, with hearts full of gratitude for all that is, for being together. Let us settle now into this holy time together ready to appreciate it, ready to take the gifts here and spread them into the world. Blessed be. Amen. May we be so.
Our reading today comes from Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Maree Brown. Pleasure reminds us to enjoy being alive on purpose. Pleasure, embodied, connected pleasure, is one of the ways we know when we are free, that we are always free, and that we always have the power to co-create the world. Pleasure helps us move through the times that are unfair, through grief and loneliness, through the terror of genocide, or days when the demands are just overwhelming. Pleasure heals the places where our hearts and spirits get wounded. Pleasure reminds us that even in the dark, we are alive. Pleasure is a medicine for the suffering that is absolutely promised in life. Pleasure is the point. Feeling good is not frivolous. It is freedom. So let's talk about pleasure and about transformation. Things change, dear gods, things change. And if we have learned nothing from this last year, we have learned that. Seemingly intractable things change in unthinkable ways, suddenly, unpredictably. And a lot of times that change leaves a mark. A mind once stretched never goes back to its original size. We are all marked by the changes we experience. We are transformed. And we've talked about how change can be hard. Like a caterpillar, it melts us down into goo and imaginal cells wrapped in a chrysalis until we finally emerge into glorious flight. But ouch, the goo, the melting, the loss of sense of self. And we've talked about the dual nature of fire, of how it can both warm and burn, and create and destroy. But under today's April sun, I want to also remind myself and this gathered community of transformations that are not hard, of change that happens easily, effortlessly, with grace and joy, of transformation that brings pleasure. Consider the green all around us, multiplying by the hour, spurred by the rain and sun and warmth and the awakened mud. The trees are leafing. Imagine being a tree. Imagine standing tall, rooted deep, stretching bare branches wide. Feel the swelling buds preparing like the inhale before a song begins. Know that each tightly furled bud is exquisitely sensitive to the world around it, like lips just before a kiss. Imagine what it feels like to wait and wait through the long, dark winter, to quiver in anticipation of that exact right moment. It's breathless. And now imagine what it feels like when that moment comes, when the spring rains have soaked deep, when the sun has caressed your face as their beloved, when your bones are finally warm and your heart opens to the world. Imagine the sheer glorious joy. Imagine opening unfurling, stretching, and growing. Imagine how incredible it feels to be that first leaf peeling out from their siblings, meeting the sunlight with ecstatic song. Not all change has to be hard. Sometimes it is like the rose blossoming from the bud. Sometimes it is like a child who finally grew that extra inch and now they can reach. Sometimes it is like a new room in your familiar house, a place to explore, to commune, and to recover. Our minds are attuned to the pain of life. It's part of our survival circuitry. It tries to keep us safe. It is harder to hold on to the joy and the pleasure. It is harder to remember the ease of things suddenly sliding into place. The new community where we felt at home as soon as we walked through the door. The couch that fit the length of our legs and the curve of our back just right. The job where we got to bring our whole selves to work and were valued for it. We quickly accept these blessings and go on with our vigilance, looking for the things that bite. And I don't know about you, but this pandemic year has definitely had teeth, and ooh, I felt that bite. I'm a single mom, virtually schooling elementary age kids, working reduced hours, sometimes from home, sometimes in a mask all day at the office. It's been hard and isolating and so very lonely. And yet, the miracle of last spring, the empty roads and the cleaner air, the joyous birds singing to their sudden health. They told us that couldn't happen, that it was impossible to shut it all down, but it did, and it can. And then there was the miracle of the summer with new conversations around race and justice, of seeing people I love suddenly change very stubborn minds. And then they insisted that it wasn't hard, it was obvious. That shift was a long time coming. And then suddenly it moved. The miracle of fall, the election. Holy moly, and pass the hot sauce, the election. Woo! Wow! I could breathe again. And the miracle of winter, the new light of hope shining through the cracks of isolation as the trickle of vaccines became a tide, as those most vulnerable in my life finally had more protection than just what I could offer with my distance and my masks. And then there is the miracle of now. Spring again, the leafing out, the emergence. I saw a bud at the park the other day. I don't know what it was. It was on a plant about yay high. It looked like an alien thing, like new beings often do. It had green bits that dripped down, kind of like bare umbrella stems. Future leaves were wrapped tight, like ruffles along those stems. It had this big central pinkish red bud, and it had veins running through it. It was all crumpled tight, but it was softening around the edges. And when I looked close, I could see entire worlds wound inside, layer after layer, wrapped tight, just beginning to loosen and unfurl into the glory of the spring. So I think After all of that, what I want most to say today is we don't have to earn our transformation. We don't have to pay for it with our pain and blood and tears. We can, sometimes we do, but we can also allow it to flow through us like sap. We can let vibrant life forces dance through us, transform us like adding sugar to chocolate. We can be swept along by the joy of life. Yes, transformation can be hard, but it can also be easy, full of pleasure and ease and joy. It can flow effortlessly like water, and we can ride it with natural buoyancy. I wish more of that for myself and for all of us. May it be so.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Our closing song today is a favorite in UU congregations, and if you have headphones handy, you might want to switch to them to experience this recording in full stereo as an immersive experience, with voices from both First UU Nashville and Northlake UU Church in Kirkland, Washington. Singer-songwriter Peter Mayer's lyrics to the Welsh tune Hyfrydol expresses our love of our planet Earth home. And I hope that you will join in singing in your own home.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far
The words for the chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I will leave you with my favorite Mary Oliver line of all time. And the poem is great, the whole poem, but this one line stands out to me and I think of it almost every day. So I just want to highlight the one line from her poem, Wild Geese. Let the soft animal of the body love what it loves. Our service is over. May our service continue.